And we are live. Welcome back to the Sports Toyens pre-match live. The match is between Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings. Still getting used to the name. I think that is going to be my eternal statement. But joining me is Rajasthan fan Nathan from Preston. We have Atul. We have Pranav, who was very happy yesterday, couldn't join, so he's here for the banter. The KKR guy and Anurag as well. So I mean, this is going to be quite some fun. We're going to talk about two very exciting teams. A franchise that won the IPL in 2008, Rajasthan Royals, and this season they actually look quite a good team. And Punjab Kings have done a lot of changes to their squad, including their name. And the hope will be that they would be able to turn their fortunes in the same way that they've turned their name around. But coming first to the resident Rajasthan Royals fan, Nathan here. Nathan, hello mate, welcome back. It's been quite a while, and it's great that we start talking about Rajasthan Royals the time that you're back. And the best possible news for you could be the opening partnership for Rajasthan. I will just put you on there itself because Ben Stokes and Josh Butler is the potential openers is being discussed a lot in the media over in India, and it could be quite some fun.
Well, I don't think it's going to be fun for Morgan if Stokes starts scoring a lot of runs opening because obviously a lot of players seem to be able to open the batting, not the middle order. I think
Yeah,
it does leave us a bit. It does leave us very weak in the middle order if we open with Stokes and Butler. But I think
yeah,
if we're really going to be realistic and think about qualification as a team, then the opening partnership is going to be very critical, especially with us missing Jofra Archer. So we're going to go
yeah,
very top heavy with the bat. If it pays off, it's going to look like a brilliant move. But again, if they're out cheaply, I'm not really sure who's going to get any runs. So we'll just have to see how it starts. I kind of hope we bowl first because I think Stokes and Butler will be a lot better chasing as a partnership
yeah.
rather than setting a target. They both can do it, but I just think they're a little bit better chasing. I think most teams are better chasers than setters.
It's a chasing
Fair.
ground as well on Kirin.
Yeah, it is a chasing ground as well. I mean, Josh Butler has definitely had good experiences there as well as a player. And we know how good Rajasthan Royals are chasing as well. Punjab Kings, one of those teams for whom chasing is something that they haven't historically done a little better. They could have done it better. I think last season we saw quite a few chases getting derailed. But this year, if they do bat first, and I guess with KR and Mayank Agarwal, the impetus will be I think put straight onto the Punjab Kings, still trying to get used, but okay. Anurag, coming back to the Rajasthan Royals a little bit before we, introduce the Punjab Kings. He did talk about Nathan that they are going to go very top heavy, and this is something as a strategy that they might be thinking going forward in the future, considering the squad that they have. The question is, it is a little baffling in itself because David Miller in the scenario that Jofra Archer is anyway not available, could be a potential player who could play as the third foreign player or probably the fourth foreign player because I think Morris is pretty much settled into this team as well.
Yeah.
Liam Livingston, who I did not want to specifically ask Nathan about because if Nathan starts talking about Livingston, it's going to go on for an hour. Who do you think he makes it, or do you think it's David Miller?
I personally think it's going to be Livingstone at, let's say, five or something, at five or
Yeah,
six, or maybe as I think that'll depend upon the situation as well. I think Livingstone, at least of the little that we've seen, he can come and he can start tonking the ball right from the get go. So that's a good asset to have. And if you look at the middle order, do it, but yeah. So there are players in the Rajasthan camp who can do that kind of a role. But again, they're little either unproven or not very consistent at that. There is Shivam Dubey. There is Riyan Parag, who's had few glimpses of
yeah,
good knocks here and there.
yeah.
Rahul Tewatia, obviously, who can forget what he did last time both these teams faced.
Yes.
I mean, not the last time, but whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
again, was quite sensational in its own way. But again, Rahul Tewatia, I think he's had just two or three good games eventually in the last season. So yeah, I think that is a middle order which is going to get exposed on a few occasions, and there will be occasions where they'll just run away with the game. So I think someone like a David Miller might come into picture just to bring that experience. But again, if you really go by experience of what David Miller has provided for the side, who better to us than the Kings 11 Punjab? He doesn't really add much. I know he has
Yeah,
numbers. Uh, I sometimes doubt where did those come from, because
yeah,
when you think about impactful, when you think about runs when it really matters the most, none of it came from Miller. At least when I was in Punjab. No hate against him, no disrespect to the man. He's a wonderful cricketer, capable of doing some amazing things. True, but I think as it
yeah.
stands, they would start with Livingstone, and I don't see how David Miller fits uh, in anyone's radar as a first choice. So let's see. I think I personally would go with Livingstone for multiple reasons. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that should be a good option.
Absolutely, Anurag. And you talked about David Miller. I think, in a sense, that I think what David Miller provides you, even with Kings 11 Punjab when he was there, you probably saw he would provide you one game where he would win you a game in the entire season. I think for the rest of the games, his contribution was not so consistent, which is probably why he did not even make it to the Rajasthan team, even in the last season.
There were 4 seasons where he couldn't even get that one game.
Exactly. So that
Yeah,
is definitely an issue with David Miller, and I guess the reputation that precedes him might give him a chance. But I genuinely feel that Liam Livingston could be a very good option, and we will circle back to that to Nathan later, because talking about Livingston without Nathan is absolutely
Just,
criminal.
now, I was just going to say, didn't David Miller play one game for us last year and got run out
Yeah, got
0 off
run out
0?
yeah.
0-0. Yes, that is exactly what happened with David Miller last season, unfortunately.
I
But
think
yes, a
that
lot of things
happened
have.
to Moeen Ali with the Royal Challenges as well. He played
Yes,
just
it
one
did
game,
happen
which
to
was the
Moeen.
eliminator,
Yeah,
and he got run out of a free hit
free
of all
hit.
the balls.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
this
talk
this is
about bad
quite.
luck.
Yeah, talk about bad luck, one overpowering the other. Just take a few comments and then I will come to Atul. RR should win, end of conversation. Shashank, yes, RR should win. The fanboys are here today, both of them. Livingston might play Nathan Bro. Yes, Livingston might genuinely play. Looks a good choice. Team batting first will score 240 is what Pawan has said. That would be some exciting cricket to watch if it does happen. And if somebody can even, potentially, get close to chasing it, it will be even more fun, I guess. Miller will be available today, came out of came out of quarantine today, so I don't think he'll play his first game. Fair enough. Butler, Stokes, Sanju, Liam, Dubey, Tewatia, Morris, Karthik, Sakaria. Chetan Sakaria is quite an interesting pick, and we will talk about him as well. And there is someone named Jaydev Unadkar who's been eternally there with Rajasthan Royals, and I think this season has had a good domestic season as well. So he's probably just put his name in the hat once again. Miller reached India on the 5th, was quarantined in 11/12th. I don't think he'll play the first game. Fair enough. I don't think either, Shashank. Stokes at 3 would be the best. Baki, let's see क्या करते हैं. Basically, he will want to have a good result, a good potential result. I think it was a diamond duck. Yes, it was 0 of 0. If you're talking about David Miller, Moeen Ali got run out. That was another freakish game in itself. Coming to you now, Atul. We are going to the Punjab Kings and the initial thoughts about the Punjab Kings for you. Did pretty well in the auction. Got some really nice players. I think personally for me, Moises Henriquez was one of the best picks that they could have possibly got in the middle order this season. What about the rest of the team? How do you look at this team? How has I think what are the core areas that they've strengthened from last season? Yeah, Atul, can you hear me?
When you see Punjab Kings as compared to Rajasthan, well, I don't think they have as good a team balance as Rajasthan have, because the thing which they lack is quality all rounder in the lineup, and I don't see someone playing the batting at number 6 and number 7 and winning the matches at that position. So I think that will be a really big hole going forward in Punjab Kings lineup, and they have a quality batting lineup at the top of the order. They have a very good bowling lineup, but there is, as I said, a mix player who can do a mixture of both the things. So I think they will miss something like that. And if their top order batting lineup is able to do the bulk of the work, then I don't think they will be needed anyway. But still, I think
Yeah.
looking at the team balance, I'll probably say Rajasthan has a better team balance as compared to Punjab Kings.
Okay, that's quite some interesting thoughts there from Atul. He talks about how the team is built in the auction and what the balance of the team is, which I think has made Nathan smile a little bit more. I'm pretty sure Shashank is smiling in the comments as well. Coming to you, Pranav, Punjab Kings, obviously one of the franchise that last season had had a beautiful run towards the end of the season. Couldn't win the last couple of games, but I think had they continued on that run, would have possibly made it to the playoffs as well. Something that their owner is very talked about very vocally, that they want to win a IPL trophy pretty soon. They've changed their name. They've done all kinds of things that they possibly could have. They've had some Twitter banter as well with Royal Challengers Bangalore right after rather the Mumbai Indians game. So a lot of things have happened with this team, but once again, KL Rahul leading his men, and he has quite some experience now with David Malan coming into the setup as well. Henriquez that we mentioned, potential star in Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith as well. So he has some wonderful players in the setup now. And what could you expect from them with these foreign core this season?
I think I agree with Atul that Rajasthan have a better team because if you look at both the teams, Rajasthan have that team from last year. Punjab
Yeah,
have added few players in, so they'll have to first figure out who will play where. You have your top four sorted out if Gayle, otherwise you need David Malan in there, and you have Nicholas Pooran coming down. But what Atul said, number five, number six, that finisher role, whether you go for
yeah,
Enrique or you play someone like Jai Richardson at number seven, so they have a lot of holes that they need to fill first, and then we'll see how they perform. If their top order performs, then well and good. But bowling wise, also you see, they need someone like there with Mohammad Shami to hold the fort. Otherwise, it's
yeah.
very difficult for them.
Absolutely. I guess Mohammad Shami is someone who they have to wrap in cotton, I guess, because he is the main Indian pace bowler in that attack. He's going to be important for India as well, I think, going forward in the T20 World Cup, in the WTC if possible as well. So, I mean, he's going to be quite an important player for India in the next upcoming years, probably until 23, 24 as well. So, I guess they have to make sure, at least in this IPL, that he is fit for them, because he is the key bowler here, and along with probably whoever plays between Meredith and Richardson, both of them are going to be crucial. Shami, the death bowler, Shami, the opening bowler, we know all of that combinations work so brilliantly. So really keen on looking forward to Mohammad Shami. Coming to you, Anurag, with a little bit of spin department, which quite frankly has been a question. Last year we saw Murugan Ashwin and Ravi Bishnoi, the two youngsters, the two uncapped players, take on the mantle of spin bowling. Did pretty well in my opinion. I guess both of them had an economy of under 8 in over, one at 7.3, one at 7.6. So I guess they did pretty well there. Couldn't pick up the same number of wickets. They combined total around 21, 22 wickets last season. So wickets weren't one of their strong fortes, but they did hold the fort last year. This year, do you think with the addition of Jalaj Saxena, we might just see one of them, actually get out of the team, or maybe you see them both again starting this year?
Depends upon what they're planning on a particular day, because uh, playing two leg spinners is something of a how do you put it? It's one of those strategic things that T20 teams in the past few years, especially playing in India, have developed. So, and
Yeah,
that seems to have worked well for a lot of teams. So, if that is a scenario, maybe yes. But Jalaj Saxena, I think he doesn't just is. I know there is this thing about off-break bowlers not being given as much importance in T20
yeah,
cricket, but Jalaj Saxena is someone who bowls it a little flat on the flatter side,
yeah,
and maybe in Mumbai, you never know if that will come out good or bad. It depends upon the track as well. If it is a flat deck, I think he's going for a lot of runs. But if there is even a little bit of assistance, I think he can provide four beautiful overs. So, and I think in spite of okay, even if we keep the pitch, whatever the pitch is, if we keep that aside, Jalaj Saxena is also very experienced cricket. I mean, I guess most experienced Indian cricketer among all Kings XI Punjab players right now,
yeah.
if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think that definitely is something to be considered. Uh, uh, I I I think that will be good. I think Ravi Bishnoi plus a Jalaj Saxena, good both bowlers. Even Ravi Bishnoi is kind of a right arm googly sort of a bowler. He sort of attempts
Yeah,
three or four googlies out of 1 over that he bowls.
yeah,
So you never know with Ravi Bishnoi what to expect. I think last season was good for him. Yes, the wickets didn't really add up as much as he would have loved, but I think this is one season where we are going to see a lot more amazing things from him, because I think he has that Kumble kind of a knack of troubling batsmen with his pace. And when
Yeah.
spinners tend to bowl that faster pace and everything, I think it sort of does trouble the batsman a lot. So let's see. I think, yeah, for today, I am not very sure if Jalaj Saxena is going to show up in the 11.
Okay. I mean, I think you're right in the sense ki Ravi Bishnoi, as you said about the Anil Kumble style of bowling in a way, he did bowl a lot of flatter last season, whereas Ashwin was the one who gave it a slight more loop, and that possibly that combination looked really well last season. Jalaj Saxena has a good ability with the bat as well, so maybe if they're looking at playing with the same strategy with having probably having to fire from ball one, probably that is something that they would then look at and say maybe if our batting fails early on, we have someone extra to bank on in the name of Jalaj Saxena. So that could potentially be a difference for them in picking Jalaj or Murugan Ashwin. If you're looking just from a bowling standpoint, I felt why break the partnership that was doing so well last year. Murugan Ashwin and Ravi Bishnoi bowled beautifully last year in the middle overs, especially when teams weren't anyway able to get away. I think both of them made it really difficult for teams to consistently score boundaries in the middle overs that can actually change the momentum of the game. A lot of the runs that were scored against them were singles and doubles, and so that was really good bowling by them last year. And I'm genuinely excited to look at both of them bowl in tandem again this year. Coming to you, Nathan, again coming back to the selection dilemma that probably Rajasthan might have, but they might have sorted it themselves because of the current situation. David Miller is just out of the quarantine, so you know that Liam Livingston is most likely going to be picked and probably even certain to be picked today. What can we expect of Livingston? Because we saw in the India versus England series that he is capable of donking the ball from the get go. We have read some beautiful stories about him, that he scored a triple hundred in one of the second grade English top tier English tournaments as well in a 50 over game. So that's quite brilliant for a batsman, and also what to expect from his bowling.
Well, that 350, I think he's got about 27 sixes in that, which is rather impressive in a one innings. What you get with Livingston is a very confident, some say confident, some will say arrogant type of player. So anybody that comes to bowl at him, he's pretty fearless. He might probably call it a bit reckless sometimes because he probably goes straight after Shammy. But
Yeah.
you will get a batsman that will have faith in his game and be pretty confident. I think he deserves a bit of confidence just from the way he played the last two ODIs in the against India. I mean, everybody struggled against Boover, yet he gets him for 2 sixes. Like it was a casual mid part-time bowler. It was proper good to see.
Yeah.
With regards to his bowling, he's probably slightly better than Joe Root, but he's not a full-time out-and-out bowler.
Yeah.
I don't know who that's compared to, so it's just in that sort of gap, really. He'll probably pick up the odd wicket, but he will probably go for runs as well. And I don't think he'll be the only bowler in the Rajasthan team to go for a lot of runs this time, because it does look rather weak.
Nathan, do you probably feel if Butler and Livingston open the batting together, it would be better if Stokes is in the middle, or do you think they might go with Stokes, Butler, and then Liam Livingston somewhere around number 5? What suits the better? What do you feel?
For me, Livingston is best as an opener because he will take full advantage of the power play, whereas Stokes tends to like to give himself a couple of deliveries to get in. A power play is going to be very critical for both teams today, I feel. You need to take it. If you don't take advantage of the power play, you can be sort of behind the ball a bit. And if you get too far behind the ball, I expect quite a big scoring game today from what everybody's saying. So I would want us to take full advantage of the power play and try and get closer to 70 for none, 70 for 1 in the 6 rather than settle for a 45-50. I'd rather take the aggressive approach and get above 200. If we're batting first, obviously get above 200. because I just feel with the Jew as well, you need to get that extra 20 runs. So for me, that's why Livingston opens with Butler. Sampson can stay at 3. Stokes 4 would be the better top 4 lineup for me.
Fair enough. I guess that genuinely could be a potential option for them. It might just be a surprise package with people expecting Stokes and Butler to open. Liam Livingston would actually come out there in the middle. Also, SSV is as well as a lot of people who could actually open the batting for Rajasthan. So there is genuinely some confusion there. I think if we see it today, whoever comes in today is going to be quite probably decisive in a way what is going to happen for the rest of the season too.
Yeah, I think though a lot of the talk about Stokes opening was when we had Joffre, so there was no
Yeah,
real talk of Livingston or anybody like that. So that's where our
yeah.
plans probably were set with Stokes. Now we obviously don't have Joffre for at least the first 4 games. I suspect it'll be longer, but at least there might be talk about actually moving Stokes back down to 4. But we'll find out in about an hour's time, or just
Yeah,
over an hour's time.
I think we will find out in over an hour's time who actually plays, who opens, and it will be quite tricky for the captain as well because all of them are wonderful batsmen. Samson himself can actually open the batting too. So there are good questions here for the Rajasthan Royals. Coming to a couple of comments and then I will come to Pranav here. Would like to see Moises Henriquez play today. He was a champion player for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Yes, he was. Anurag, wasn't he one of the key players in a title-winning season too?
Yes, he was, and I think he used to come up. He had a varied role. He sort of had a up and down kind of a role with the bat, but he did
Yeah.
whatever he was asked to. He had the ability to finish. He had the ability to just construct a good innings and just lay a platform as well. So yeah, he's a versatile enough player with loads and loads of T20 experience, and how many titles has he led the Sydney Sixers to? So I think
Man, yeah.
that's a very, very, very good addition to have. Very, very underrated, and I think maybe that can work in his favor. Let's see.
Definitely can. Coming to again another comment by Sai Gautam, Punjab should only blame themselves for last season, even in the first half. They've lost the matches they should have won. Yes, Gautam, there were. I think in the first match in itself was something that they could have won, but didn't work out for them, unfortunately. I think this season that next step will be important. How do they convert these matches into victories? And possibly, if they
Yeah,
can, they might
you
still have a
know,
chance.
when you are 2 or 3 runs in the last 3 balls, and if you're not getting that, it's
Yeah,
99 out of 100 times it's the batting team's fault. And you can
yeah.
blame the 1 run that you didn't get, which the umpires didn't give you, and all of that. Eventually, it's still 3 to get in 3. If you've got to that position, you got to win the game.
Yeah, and especially if you look at the way they've played before, then you have to
Yeah,
make sure that you get those 3 runs. It's a matter of one good ball, and I guess they have to make sure
that's what
that in
Bangladesh
press
thing to do.
situations.
Well, if it's
Yeah,
an English player and it's 2 off 2 and it's in India, we blame the pitch.
lovely.
I like that. I like the subtle banter, or rather the more direct banter that's thrown here. Nathan seems inspired by Jofra resting up for Twitter. Yes, he is. He's resting up, getting fit once again. Has to be a scoring match. Literally, no decent bowlers on either side. Shami probably. Yes, Mohammad Shami is an X factor player, and he
And
pretty much has the
isn't he one of
capability.
those bowlers who will go for runs but will also pick wickets?
Exactly, and then also Anurag, if you remember the double super over, he also has the ability to concede only five or
Control
six
it.
runs
Yep.
per super as well.
Yeah.
So
Let's hope.
he is quite versatile in what he can do. I have to see what Tewatia does today. Last time against PBKS, he brutally assaulted. Yes, he did. Varun is here saying fantasy tips दे दो. Yes, Varun, हम fantasy tips पे आने वाले हैं in the next few minutes. Just one question here for Pranav, which is probably bursting my brain in so many different ways. Chris Gayle or David Malan?
Ooh.
Universe boss, all day, every day.
Any reason why you would pick Chris Gayle? I know it's obvious, but then why would not pick David Malan? Because
I
from what we have heard, that they needed an anchor which could allow KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal to play freely, and then the rest of the players will follow. Someone like a Shahrukh or even a Moises Henriquez or even Jai Richardson later on to actually explode.
I think because they have got new bowlers in, so they'll have to fit in them first. And then if you add another change from last season, that David Malan in place of Chris Gayle, you have too many changes already in the first game. So I think because Gayle was tried and tested and he's done really well, let's keep the batting order same and let's see
Yeah,
go with the minimum changes, because even if the players are old, any changes like that, everyone just needs to be really uh, informed about their roles first. And if you keep on
yeah.
changing, I think that becomes a little problematic for them. So keep it to a minimum, and then let's see what happens.
Yes, I think changes. I mean, consistency is one of the key elements when you look at teams. You saw just what DC did the other day. You saw Mumbai SRH, and you probably even see a little bit of consistency in the other teams as well. So I guess that will be really important. Chop and change is something that we've seen. I mean, Sume's franchise do quite a while, and it hasn't worked out always. But consistency in this case, I genuinely feel consistency would also matter over a
Worked out
season.
never. It
It
hasn't
never
worked
worked
out
out.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that they have to be consistent throughout the season as well. It just can't be about a team from last season. If they're going with a game plan, they have to stick by it for at least a few games before they drop someone or replace someone in that case. So yes, that is there. And as Varun has asked us all, we will go with the fantasy tips before we actually move on to the I think the rest of the discussion here. Coming to you first, Atul, and then I will come to you as well, Sumit. Atul, any players that for fantasy players you who are going to play in this one? Any differential picks that you would like to talk about? Because we all are going to pick the Butlers and the Stokes, and obviously on the other side the KL Rahuls, the Mayank Agarwals, and the Mohammad Shamis. Any other differential pick that you would like to suggest?
For me, the differential pick today will be Sanju Samson. The reason being, I think he has a sort of history of starting the tournament on a high. I mean, there has been a record of sorts like the first part of the during the first part of the tournament, in the first 7 games, he has performed exceptionally well, and in the second half of the tournament, like his performance has gone south. So I think starting with him or investing a lot on Sanju Samson will be a good call. And a differential pick, I would say it should be Richardson, because as we saw in the first game in Mumbai, Chris Wokes and Avesh Khan got their balls to move a little bit and do something
Yeah.
in the initial overs. So I think Richardson has that capability as well, and he will be someone to look out for.
Yeah, I think Jai Richardson, I think as you talked about Chris Wokes, Jai Richardson offers a little bit with the bat as well. So if he can give us extra bit of runs for you as well, it will be really good uh, for Punjab Kings and also for the fantasy players, I believe. Coming to you, Sumit, there are quite some interesting players when you look at the wicket keeping section in the fantasy today. KL Rahul, Josh Butler, Sanju Samson, Nicholas Puran, Rawat, and Prabsimran Singh. So I guess if you talk about just with Rahul, Butler, Samson, Puran, you still have four players, and I think you cannot pick. You have to pick three batters, which essentially means you might not pick more than two wicket keepers. And among the four, picking two is quite a difficult choice. Who would you go for?
That was actually also like if you would have asked me a differential pick for today, I would have still pretty much answered this question. Wherein I think Nicholas Puran is the man to look forward to. I am a huge fan of how he hits the ball neat and clean. He has a terrible super over record that we all agree of. But
Yeah,
in the matches when you look at, I think Nicholas Puran will be an asset, especially on grounds that will offer him the kind of surface that he likes. So Nicholas Puran could be one pick. The other you will always have a toss up between Sanju Samson and KL Rahul. I still feel Rahul has it in him to have it to go all guns blazing right from the word go. Samson maybe yes, maybe not. Depends on the kind of form he is. Having said, he has a record of starting well in the tournaments. So
yeah.
maybe because it's the first game, maybe go with Sanju Samson if you want. So Samson and Puran would be my picks. But just to say that Rahul isn't that bad either. So yeah.
Rahul and Butler aren't that bad either. Both of them will be opening the batting. Genuinely hope Josh Butler does open, doesn't play at number 4. So that that would be pretty interesting if that happens. That Livingston and Ben Stokes come in to open the batting. It would be pretty bizarre, I would genuinely say. But yes, I think you're right. When you look at Nicholas Pooran, there is an ability that he has to finish the games as well. A few more comments before I come to you, Anurag, with your pick in the all-rounders section. Kushagra says, okay, yeah, here he is. Kushagra says, Mayank turn is on. I want. No one cares whoever wins, is what Varun has said. Rahul slash Stokes as a captain, Pooran Butler Sampson as the vice captain. Okay. Does David Miller get a chance to still on the bench? Kushagra Miller is just out of quarantine, so it looks like he will still be on the bench. And we might see a debut for Liam Livingston. In my opinion, Miller and Morris could feature along with Stokes and Butler, is what Yasho sees as well. But then RR will have to field both Tyagi and Nuradkar. Maybe Chetan Sakaria might also feature, you never know. ये fantasy segment बंद कर दो. Someone amongst us said Harbhajan yesterday. Yes, unfortunately, Harbhajan only bowled one over, but
No
had
one
he
did
had, no one
besides.
did. Harbhajan wanted to. He wanted Harbhajan to play well, and I think once Harbhajan got selected, there was this notion that he might genuinely do well. Um, Nathan is strangely pink today. Who are you supporting, Nathan? Nathan is supporting Rajasthan Royals. He is very vocal about that. You can see his Rajasthan Royals jersey on him as well as at the stands. Talking about differential, someone in some part of the world would have Arshdeep Singh as the captain who will outscore every other person. हाँ ये तो हो ही सकता है. Siddharth asks, am I wrong to have picked 4 wicket keepers? No, you're not wrong.
No,
I think it's a combination as well. You can pick 4 wicket keepers if you go with only one all rounder. So you have to then mix and match your team accordingly. So you can pick 4 wicket keepers. That's not a problem. But possibly in most teams you will not see more than 2 playing. Yeah, Varun, I tried duplicating Harshil Patel twice by going for dark horses. Let's just say Aktya. Shashank says Mayank captain and Stokes vice captain. Okay. Jaiswal, if he plays Dubey, Tyagi, and Murugan, Ashwin could be smart differential picks. They have been owned by less than 15% of the people. Jai Richardson, when I picked him, was about 17%. So even he could be a very good differential pick. Bookie से बात हो गया माइंड करके इनको बना दो. Not a debut for Livingston. Yes, he's played in 2019 for RR as well. Haha said Butler is my captain today, vice captain probably from the team chasing is what he says. MJS Chawla is here asking who will win. Okay, that's probably something that we will answer at the last. Mr. Chawla, Liam Livingston, captain. Let's do this is what Siddharth Regi has said. Yes, I think Livingston could also be a quite a interesting pick for captaincy. But yes, Anurag, coming to you now, talking about the all. Yeah, Pranav.
I think Liam Livingstone will play if Rajasthan Royals think their bowlers are good enough and their middle order is something weak. But if they
Yeah,
feel their middle order is good enough, they might pick Andrew Tye to replace
yeah,
who will be a direct replacement for Jofra Archer, and you'll have Dubey, Rahul Tewatia to do the job at 4, 5, 6. So I think,
yeah.
and Morris also. So I think Livingston is a very good option, but then it depends which is the weakest side, and then who they pick. That's the only concern for me.
Okay, fair enough. That could be a concern. But yes, just reading out the names to you, Anurag. Ben Stokes, Chris Morris, Rahul Tewatia, Moises Henriques, Shivam Dubey, Jalaj Saxena, Fabian Allen. These 6 players, especially, you can only pick a maximum of 4 all-rounders. And most teams from what we have seen in the past have picked, around 2 or 3 all-rounders in general. Who would your top 3 or top 4 picks be amongst these?
um, Ben Stokes, I think it's needless to add. I think
Yeah,
he's going to provide you crucial runs. So yes, I think besides that, Henriquez, I think is going to be a sure shot as well.
yeah,
Plus, I think I would suggest someone like Rahul Tewatia because I think you're going to get wickets as well there. So I think
yeah.
these would be my top 3, at least among all rounders. And just on an overall perspective, I think someone like a Riley Meredith actually has a better chance of playing today than a Jai Richardson. I have this
Okay,
weird feeling because Meredith, I think, is slightly more quicker, and it's not really the criteria. I think Jai Richardson did bowl much better in the Big Bash, but again, I just have a feeling Meredith plays today, and if he does, at least let it be Jai or let it be Meredith, whoever plays, I think they are going to be one of the crucial, what do you say, the differential picks for this one.
Okay, it could be quite a differential pick there if Riley Meredith is picked. As it stands, Riley Meredith hasn't been picked by a lot of teams, only 5.1%. So he might be one of those differential picks that people have been talking about. Coming to you, Pranav, who would your captaincy picks be for our viewers today? Whom would you bet the most on? Probably give your top three picks for captaincy today.
I think unlike yesterday, I don't have emotional quotient attached here. So
Yeah.
uh, I would say Rahul and Stokes if Stokes open or Butler. I think both of them are really solid, can really play that long innings with that aggressive strike rate. So he'll get a lot of runs today because of that pitch.
Okay, so quite there as well. I think KL Rahul he would love the bounce on this pitch. Ben Stokes, we know he's good with the bat and the ball. Personally, for me, Ben Stokes is the captaincy pick because he can do multiple things: bat, ball, fielding. He's equally good in all three segments, and probably that is why he makes your captaincy pick. Because there are so many players who are very unidimensional, but this guy can do a lot of things at the same time. And a little bit of a trouble for me personally was KL Rahul or Josh Butler who to pick as a vice captain because KL we know he's more consistent, will give you more number of runs. Whereas with Butler, just the kind of boundaries, the strike rates, and when he gets going, he has the ability to score a 50 and 100 in quick time, which is something what also rewards you with more fantasy points going ahead. Also, both of them being wicket keepers, KL and Josh Butler, they will get those catches as well. So that could be another decision while you're making when you pick your Dream 11 teams or any other fantasy game that you might be playing. So that these are captaincy picks. I'll take a few comments and then we'll jump into the discussion where I think this is something that we probably missed out on. What happens with Deepak Huda this season? Does he actually play along with Shah Rukh Khan in the Kings 11 in the Punjab Kings batting order? Because finishing, which was a problem last season, could yet be. I'll just take a few comments. Siddharth says Liam Livingston captain. Let's do this. Who will win? Kiska chance ज़्यादा है? Who has more chances? Chawla, I feel personally I would bank more on Rajasthan Royals because they have, as a lot of people have said, the better squad in terms of consistency. They know what to expect out of their players. But Punjab Kings, I think they might still be able to fix something up on day one and produce the result. However, I feel that toss will be an important constraint here. We'll discuss that more a little bit deeply when we come to the last segment of our show. Amre Mike video is the best thing I've seen today. The DC social media doing a brilliant job. Fantastic. I mean, that video was top class, and massive kudos to Praveen Amre and I mean that Ajinkya Rahane section as well. Also, what he has done with Prithvi Shaw over the last couple of months has been really, really heartwarming, and just to see the way Prithvi played was brilliant. Got chills when he said zone made yaude chakri marayla za. Basically, that's Marathi for let's get into the zone and start hitting sixes. Uh, Chawla says give your predictions. Yes, we are going to give our predictions too. Gayle plays over Malan, please. Yes. Chris Gayle gives you an X factor, and I guess that is why he comes into the team. Is someone who can accelerate, someone who can anchor as well. We've seen that last year that he can take his 12 ball 5 runs, 12 ball 6 runs, and then end up with 30 ball 60 or 30 ball 70. That's how good Chris Gayle is. So maybe he still has the edge over David Malan here. Definitely Reggae is what he says. Pranav, talk about your captain cautiously, is what Siddharth has said. Won't be surprised if Malan doesn't get a game this season. Gale is good. Puran is irreplaceable. Fair enough. KL Butler is my captain. Okay. Who are both teams overseas players who are Rishikesh Rajas, and we potentially feel that if it comes to Kings 11, the Punjab Kings, it might just be Chris Gayle, Jai Richardson, or Riley Meredith, probably even Moises Henriques and Nicholas Puran for sure. Current comment pada hai हमने Rishikesh, and we have answered it as well. Even I was thinking Meredith can play due to extra pace, but I think he won't because Shami hai. Even Jai bowls continuously, and Arshdeep bowls at 130 to 138. Fair enough. As for the Rajasthan Royals, I feel Ben Stokes, Livingston, Morris, and Butler make the four obvious picks because of what is the availability in the squad as it stands. Miller to start, they need him if Stokes and Butler are to open. Ideally, they would need him, Sheikh. My point of view is just the fact that he's recovered out of quarantine. He's just back out of quarantine today. I mean, probably yesterday night. So I guess that will be difficult to put him into the team. He still has to get that practice out of his system and then see what happens with him. So I guess today we might see Liam Livingston. Overall, I feel also Livingston provides you a better balance because he can do multiple roles at the same time. He can bowl a couple of overs if needed as well. So maybe we might not see David Miller starting over Livingston at least today. Let's see what happens in the future. Jaya plays over Meredith is what Siddharth Regi has added as well. So yes, coming back to Sumedh and Jalaj Saxena. When we talked about him, we could have mentioned one more player. It's Deepak Huda, who really has been one of the players who's been to multiple franchises, not really worked out for a lot of them, but is still a sensational finisher. We know, maybe Shah Rukh Khan might get the nod as well. And considering what has happened last season, maybe today Deepak Huda might play and be that finishing choice.
Yeah, he could well be. If you remember, the last time in the last season when Punjab started that turnaround, it was
Yeah,
Deepak Huda who kind of initiated it with taking it to the super over first against the Mumbai Indians. Also, and then in the first super over, he was the top choice over someone like Mayank and Chris Gayle as well. He was the one
yeah.
who came up with KL Rahul. So Deepak Huda, like at the latter half, I felt Punjab showed a lot more confidence in him. There were a couple of occasions where he even batted at number 5. So that is also something that we could look into. Punjab will always have a choice. The addition of Shah Rukh Khan and maybe potential Jalaj Saxena as well is a good one to have in the team. So
Yeah.
that is something which the team management will have to take part in. And obviously, Jalaj Saxena is going to provide a bit more with the ball as opposed to Deepak Huda. Deepak Huda will always be only a change up if needed. So it will be up to the Kings 11 management to choose whether you want to go with someone who will guarantee you a finish with the bat, or you would want someone who is more preferred as a bowling option as well.
Yes, I think you're right. I think Huda can bowl some decent overs as well. He can tonk the ball as I think as long as anyone can. So he can be a decent finishing option. आपने ये भी बात करी कि कैसे उन्होंने last season that spots when it was really crucial they sent him because they believed in his hitting ability. And maybe this season as well. I think as Shashank mentions in the comment, I think even Mandeep at 5 was fabulous. But एक bowling option कम हो जाएगा in that case is what he says. So yes, I think you're quite right. He might actually feature even over Mandeep. So that could be a good choice. That could be a differential pick as well for people who are looking at their fantasy teams. Coming to Atul, the question mark now stands at if Rajasthan Royals do play their 4 foreigners in the way we have thought, that if they do play Butler, Stokes, Chris Morris, and Liam Livingston, the Indian pace bowling is very very weak. If you look at it, you probably have Jaydev Unadkar. You will also have to depend probably on the likes of Karthik Tyagi, who is very inexperienced yet. Shreyas Gopal would be a pick as well there. So this is something that could potentially bother them. But Chetan Sakare is another name that's been thrown into the mix because he has been a good pick for them. He's done well for his state team as well. What do you think happens in that slots? Do you who are the two you're backing to actually feature in the game amongst Unadkar, Sakaria, and obviously Karthik Tyagi?
I mean, Unadkat, Karthik, and I would say Suresh Gopal will be the fixed Indian bowlers from my side. And
Yeah,
along with that, I would also like to add that bowling shouldn't be that much of a worry for Rajasthan Royals because they have got a lot of option. Like Livingston can also bowl. Tewatia is there. Shivam Dubey is also there. So for
yes,
that fifth bowling slot, like for
yeah,
giving those extra for those last 4 overs, I think they have quite 4 to 5 guys, capable of doing the job. So I don't see that they would be struggling and there will be any need to bring in a new player to bowl those overs. They will
yeah.
be pretty much comfortable, managing their resources if it comes to bowling, if it comes to that fifth bowling option. So as a team, I think they will be able to do the job.
Even
Fair
Riyan
enough.
Parag can bowl a bit, right?
Yeah, Riyan Parag can also bowl quite a bit, so he could also be thrown in the ad. Ben Stokes will
Yes.
bowl. He will definitely bowl. So he's going to be another
Yeah, Ben
bowler
Stokes.
in the same department. So they have quite the bowlers. They can chop and change. They can probably even depend on Ben Stokes giving them 4 overs and play an extra batsman too. This is something that they could definitely do. A few more comments and then we will take on to the next agenda. KL, Mayank, Gayle, Puran, Sarfaraz, Shahrukh, Bishnoi, Ash, Shami, Meredith, and Jai is what Sheikh has given his team. Ignore Channel Levo. That's a good name, guys. RR Win, Jaydev Unadkar, King of the IPL. Sir, Andrew Ty available? Heck yeah. Andrew Ty is probably available, but he just recently come back from his wedding again. So I mean, congratulations to him in the first place. Uh, we will genuinely look forward to what happens with him. Having said that, probably today again we might not see. Comments Padlio. Yes, I think we have to answer your question as well. Maybe Andrew Ty might not play today, and Rajasthan Royals. I do hope personally they win as well. Rajasthan Royals is strong, I
Yeah.
feel, but bus to
Andrew
inexperience
Tai
का
and
issue आता है.
Mustafizur Rahman is not available for selection.
Both of them are not available for selection today. So yes, that is another. I mean, Mustafizur is another quite an interesting miss because they got him at his base price, and I feel he's going to be quite a vital player for them. RR is strong, but I feel बस तो inexperience का issue आता है at any point. दुबे 2 ओवर अच्छा डाले और maybe third over में 20 runs. Yes, Dubey is very capable of that unfortunate incident there. तो ये सब देखने को भी मिलेगा. Shashank says everyone is available today, so there are conflicting reports here, but as I can see on the Cricinfo website, they have said that Mustafizur or Tai, both of them might be available. They're not like, totally clear about it as well. So we will probably find out what happens then. Coming to you, Pranav, the same question probably arises for Kings and Punjab. Sorry, the Punjab Kings as well. That Arshdeep and Ishan Porel was quite as different. I mean, it did break a lot of hearts. It did break a lot of brains for people that whom to select. But I think Arshdeep last season proved why he could potentially be the pick over Ishan Porel. Yet, do you think that probably on a Mumbai pitch that Ishan Porel might be given the nod?
I think Arshdeep offers something different than what the bowlers they already have. So I think Arshdeep should be the obvious pick there. And then if he doesn't perform, then you can always back Ishan Porel. But in the first few games, I think Arshdeep, because I think he's performed well for Punjab also in Vijay Hazare and Mustaq Ali Trophy. So I think
Yes,
he
yes,
should get
yes.
that nod. Bowling left arm pacer. Then you have Shami also bowling right arm. Then you have Riley Meredith or Jared, any one of them. So you've got decent pace there. I think he should play. He will be my choice.
Okay, and Shashank also adds that Miller or fifth को आए थे, unsure of Ty's arrival. Yes, Andrew Ty का तो I think there was conflicting reports in his wedding as well when it actually going to take place, when he's going to be in the bio bubble. So I think by the time Rajasthan Royals cover something, so let's see. Ignore
I
channel
think
level is asked.
if Ty is not available, Mustafizur is not available, and Archer is obviously injured. So only option they have is Liam Livingstone. So I
Yeah.
think 4 overseas are obviously set.
Yeah, that is also a reason why Livingston is almost a certain today.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that makes him quite a certainty today. Ignore channel ever ask किसी popular cricketer को जानते हो क्या? I mean yes and no. So let's see. We do know a couple of people have come on channel as well. हाँ भाई सुरेश रैना चाचा है. No, he isn't. He isn't. It's just that his academy is very close to where I live by. So maybe if that is a close connection, that Shashank is talking about, there it is. Prab Simran Singh's he destroyed in the domestic cricket. Do you think they will play him? Prab Simran, yes. I mean, I remember, I think the 170 or 180 that he scored in the Vijay Hazare when he absolutely smashed the bowlers. What do you think, guys? Sumit, लगता है Prab Simran खेलेंगे ये season? Any game for that matter.
Might maybe one game if the combination actually fails that pathetically. But I don't
Yeah.
see him fitting straight into the 11. If there are any major concerns that are happening, या अगर तीन चार player साथ में injure हो जाते हैं, then maybe he might just be in. Because if you want to play Prabhsimran, probably the top order is the best place for him to be.
Yes,
And Punjab mein, I don't see anyone getting replaced. Like they have a replacement
absolutely.
already, so he's a replacement to the replacement. So I don't see that
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, and I think as Shashank has mentioned, and I think Amit has mentioned as well, कि Prab Simran is a top order batsman essentially. He also opened the batting in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. So, it's very difficult to see him back again. I think replacing so many players and actually opening the batting, which might disturb a lot in both the teams as well. I mean, Shashank is now just enjoying himself in the comments, but yeah, fair enough, Shashank. Coming back to the game in itself. toss is quite an essential element of the game today. I think yeah, Shashank, hum bura nahi maan rahe. Chill mar. We are all chill with a little bit of banter here. But yes, coming to the game in Mumbai, we have seen due factor coming into the play. We have seen chasing is easier. We have seen that I think KL Rahul and co prefer to bat first, and then RR prefer to bat second. But then captains could potentially have that brain where they would probably want to think that okay, जो सामने वाले को करना है एग्जैक्टली वो मैं उसे करने नहीं दूंगा. So Pranav, तुझे लगता है कि maybe this kind of thinking might go into place because if you do put these teams into an uncomfortable position from right from the get-go, it might just affect them. But how much will the conditions actually affect this strategy?
आई थिंक हमने कल भी देखा कि टॉस हैदराबाद जीतने के बाद दे वांटेड टू चेज एंड बट उनको मोमेंटम ग्रैब नहीं हुआ. So
Yeah.
if you bowl really well, despite of the situation, if you just keep few dot balls in every over here and there, I think batsmen will get in trouble because if you score 200, तो वो chasing करने का हमेशा वो रहता है run rate 9-10 कैसे होगा every over you need a boundary, you need those runs. तो अगर एक दो ओवर भी अच्छे आ गए तो फिर वो pressure बढ़ता रहता है. So if they can execute their plans well bowling wise, so I think toss wouldn't be a matter because pitch इतना अच्छा है batting के लिए.
पिच इज जनरली गुड और जैसे आई गेस मुंबई इंडियंस जब वानखेड़े पे खेलती है सीन मुंबई इंडियंस डू वेल व्हाइल ओपनिंग द बैट लाइक बैटिंग फर्स्ट एज वेल यू सीन if you score 200 on any kind of pitch it's still going to be difficult to chase because आपको you have to expect a 10 run from the get go and which is very very difficult. तो हाँ ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है for the teams who are chasing if even if you bat first and post around 200 it's still quite a difficult total to chase. Coming to the final segment now, coming to the prediction, जैसे काफी लोग पहले भी पूछ रहे थे what's going to happen with the predictions. Starting with you first, Atul, क्या लग रहा है what happens today? Do we see a little bit of Rajasthani dance or do we see the Punjabis doing their thing and actually winning the game today?
I think Rajasthan all the way. I mean, I'm very sure Rajasthan is going to win. The reason being, last season I think they did the double over Punjab, and
Yes.
they also have a very good team balance, as I said earlier. So I think Rajasthan will be the team which will win today, quite comfortably.
What about you, Sumit? What are your predictions for today?
I'm gonna support the other red and gold that we have. So probably go with Punjab Kings in that regards. Also, let's have a bit of competition here on the panel as well. So just for that, I think Punjab, if the explosion at the top works for them, if they have a great start, they'll probably score a lot more than what we have seen them scoring. So Punjab will have a great and the bowling depth has also increased with the inclusion of Meredith, Richardson, and others that they have brought in. So they have a complete all-round side this time around, better than what we have seen them have. So I'm gonna go with Punjab. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Coming back to Nathan. Nathan, welcome back again. But we are going to ask for your predictions for the game now. Who do you think wins? I know it's going to be Rajasthan, but then what are your overall predictions for the game?
I might surprise you and actually be quite sensible with my response today. I think whoever bats second wins the game. I just don't see enough ability in either side's bowling that will take the game away. And I think with the G factor as well, you have to score in the extra 20 runs for that, and then probably an extra 10 runs for the poor bowling side. That the batting team this team chasing wins. It's my prediction, and Livingston to be the highest run scorer today.
Obviously, that was a prediction that I would have made for you, Nathan, because Liam Livingston and Nathan belong from the same county. So if you're confused why Nathan has such love for Liam Livingston, there it is. Coming to you finally,
It's his
Pranav.
ability.
It's his ability too. I mean, let's not discount that factor because Liam Livingston we have seen before as well that he's quite a good player and might be very very handy in the middle order, even at the top today for Rajasthan Royals. Coming to you, Pranav, what happens to according to you today?
I think I'll have to back Nathan here. He knows Liam Livingstone really well. So there is a connection there. So I guess Rajasthan will definitely win.
Bromance.
Yeah, there is a lot of bromance going over there. Take a few comments and then probably we'll come to the end of the show. Mujhe bura laga is what Sadat's saying. He felt bad about the ring. Okay. Are you guys playing Fantasy League? Yes, yes, we are playing Fantasy League. We have talked about the top picks for captaincy. A differential picks for us could be Sanju Samson, probably even Mohammad Shami could be one of the picks who, if he bowls well in the initial overs. You could possibly have KL Rahul, Ben Stokes, or Josh Butler to choose from as your captains. There is a Rahul Tewatia who could also be a very interesting pick if you look at him. Chris Gayle or David Malan, whoever plays, I think you can still choose them as well because both of them are going to be key to whatever happens for their teams. Someone like a Shah Rukh Khan or a Deepak Huda, if they play, could be essential. Shivam Dubey, let's not forget his utility as well. Can pick wickets, can score runs. So काफी interesting choices है आज के game पे because there are so many multidimensional players. It might be key to see what happens. I've always maintained this. Young players cannot play this position. This is not my position card. Saying this for Jaiswal or Prabhsimran both. Ishan Kishan is an opener. Made number 4 in his 2020. Yes, I think Reke has talked about this before, and I think Yashasvi Jaiswal, Prabhsimran, all of them, they do have the ability to play at number 4. The point being that with Yashasvi or even with Prabhsimran for that matter, top 4 is difficult to get into because you have the likes of Nicholas Puran, Chris Gayle slash David Malan for the Punjab Kings. Whereas if you look at Rajasthan Royals, even if you see Stokes and Butler, or even Butler and Livingston, you still have Stokes who will probably bat at 4, or Livingston who might come at 5 or 4, and then Sanju Samson, Shivam Dubey. So they do have a lot of players, Rian Parag as well. So it might be difficult for the both of them to make it to the team if they don't open the batting. And frankly, I think Jaiswal still could get a chance, but Prabh Simran, it's very, very difficult for him to get a chance at the top of the order, is what I feel. Not one bowler apart from Morris have an economy of less than 10 in the Rajasthan Royals. Yes, yes, that is a scenario. Chris Morris was excellent last season, and I think he will be key again this season, considering the prize he's gotten at. Rajasthan will start as favourites as they have a better record at the Wankhede, and they have players who are in top form recently. Yes, I think I can agree that as well. The only way RR wins is through the batting brilliance of Josh Stokes or Samson. Punjab is going to cruise to victory. I mean, yes, there is another cruising here, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, he's talking about Punjab. सब पगले हो गए. How the hell is our favorite? RR possibly. I mean, for me, Amit, if RR, the reason RR is favorite is because there are so many match winners, just like Punjab do. I genuinely feel the pitch and the conditions support RR better. With their spinners, with their pacers, they have multiple bowling options, which can also be of great help on a pitch where if they do bowl second, just the amount of bowlers who might bowl, you cannot settle into a bowler, not target a specific bowler. So this could be possibly a selection as well. If you look at the Indian bowling lineup for Punjab and Rajasthan, I would probably go with Rajasthan because they do have multiple bowlers who can bowl better and not just depend on one bowler like Mohammad Shami. Arshdeep did bowl well, but then again on game one, it might be difficult on a 1 KD pitch to stop the flow of runs. You look at the consistency in the batting order as well. You probably feel both of them are on level pegging. So it's quite a difficult game to call. Probably, I think for us, our favorite picks in a sense are in Rajasthan, which is why we have talked about him.
Just
11
a quick
guys thrown to.
question.
Yeah.
I was thinking when I was looking through your expected teams, and from what I remember actually is Punjab have quite a quite a long tail. So their tail sort of starts usually around the 7-8 batsmen, whereas Rajasthan's will probably be more 10-11 today. So I think that could be just something that we put more of a slight edge back to Rajasthan.
Yeah, I think if you look at players until number 7 or number 8 at best, you have batting. But as you talked about Rajasthan, even Jaydev Unadkar, who comes in at number 10, has won quite a few games for his state team this year. He scored 50s in the Vijay Hazare Trophy at number 10. So he is quite an interesting batsman there. So they might probably look at Jaydev Unadkar. So yeah, longer tail, and जैसे अमित ने यहाँ पे बताया है, 11 men through guys thrown together is a gang, not a team, which is exactly why I feel कि slightly Rajasthan again become favorites because a lot of consistent players are there. You might probably see Liam Livingston come out of the less consistent setup, and Shivam Dubey. So we might probably see only two players and Chris Morris, but Chris Morris essentially will be a replacement for Archer. So maybe two or three players at best. But whereas when you look at the Punjab Kings, you might see potentially David Malan, if not Chris Gayle. You might see Moises Henriquez. You will see Shah Rukh Khan. You will see Chai Richardson. You will see probably even Riley Meredith as well. So you might see quite a few players making their debut today. Quite different strategies. So maybe Rajasthan still, for me, are 51-49 favorites. But then this is quite even Stevens game. Toss will matter a lot, but let's see what happens. Thank you to Pranav, Sumed, Atul, Nathan, and Anurag who also joined the show before. Do stay tuned to the Sports Toy, and we will come up with a mid innings live on our Instagram channel. Should happen somewhere around 9:15, depending on the over rate, and our post match live happens somewhere around 11:15 to 11:30 on YouTube or Facebook. Do stay tuned to that. We have put out our probable 11 videos on the YouTube channel as well for both the teams, Punjab and Rajasthan. So do check that out as well. And until the mid innings live, we will see you soon.